Young women, young men of color, we add our voices to the voices of your ancestors, who speak to you over ancient seas and across impassable mountaintops. Come up from the gloom of national neglect. You have already been paid for. Come out of the shadows of irrational prejudice. You owe no racial debt to history. The blood of our bodies and prayers of our souls have brought you a future free from shame and bright upon the tongue of it. We pledge ourselves and our resources to seek for you clean and well-furnished schools, safe and non-threatening streets, employment, which makes us make use of your talents, but that does not degrade your dignity. You are the best we have.
By entering the city as a kind of anonymous black person, he gets a first-hand experience.
You are all we have. You are what we have become. We pledge you our whole hearts from this day forward.
All right, so against the powerful words by Maya Angelou to our youth. And hopefully we as adults can really listen to those words and be resources and be role models for our youth going forward. So now we're going to look at the role of young people in the civil rights movement. And the first individual we're going to talk about, he was a person that was looked at as being really the start of what we would call the civil rights movement. His death. You see that picture is very powerful to look at that picture. It's a 14-year-old boy. So it's very, and his mother purposely left the casket open. She said she wanted everybody to see what was done to him. And I'm going to have Mark come up and read a little bit about Emmett Till. And I'm going to watch this video here about Emmett Till and the circumstances surrounding his death.
During the mid-1950s, there was a viral epidemic in Mississippi. Emmett Till, a young 14-year-old African-American boy, was currently staying in the town of Money, Mississippi. While visiting his relatives when his world was turned upside down. While staying in Money, Mississippi, there was a grocery store which most of the townheads usually went to. One day, while going to the grocery store owned by Carolyn Bryant, Emmett Till did something that was never tolerated by the African-American community. While he started making his purchase, Miss Bryant was behind the cashier working. Unfortunately, after Emmett made his purchase, he started to wolf whistle towards her. This was the start of a new epidemic about to sweep across the nation. In the South, segregation laws were very strict. The Jim Crow laws were laws that segregated the blacks from the whites in everyday activities involving each other. These laws were extremely strict to the point where whites and blacks were segregated from working in the same buildings to even drinking from the same water fountains. Intermarriage, for example, a black male marrying a white woman, weren't acceptable in the South. Voting rights were also one of many things banned from African Americans during the Jim Crow law era. If these laws were broken, one of the most famous ways of punishment was lynching. In almost every case that the Jim Crow law were broken, the victim was usually executed. On August 31st, Emmett was found lying in the Tallahatchie River carrying a massively heavy cotton gin around his neck. His face and his body were in bad shape. There was really no way of regaining Emmett back to his original looks. Considering there was a 75-pound cotton gin tied around his neck, there was probably no chance of him ever surviving the horrendous attack. The men were tried for murder, but an all-white male jury acquitted them. Till's murder and open casket funeral galvanized the emerging civil rights movement. A quote by Jesse Jackson said, with his body water, soaked, and defaced, most people would have kept the casket covered. His mother let the body be exposed. More than 100,000 people saw his body lying in the casket here in Chicago. That must have been a time the largest civil rights demonstration in American history.